Welcome to Back to Basics, a podcast where we return to the wisdom that has been with us from the very beginning. In a culture that's drifting further from the truth, we're finding our footing again in faith, family, and the timeless ideals that lead to true physical, spiritual, and emotional health. Join us weekly as we explore candid conversations with leading health industry experts, thought leaders, and healers as we get back to the basic values that make for a healthier world. I'm Anna Montanaro, your host, and you're listening to Back to Basics. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Basics. This week we have a friend in the studio, my mom. Basically, in the Christmas spirit, well, maybe not Christmas spirit, but last year, for those of you that don't know, I got married on December 26th, the day after Christmas. And I was really reflecting on a year of marriage and thinking about sort of like what are the things that I wish I would have known before I got married, and who I could go to for some of that advice. And I think this is so important in our culture because we've lost touch. I mean, maybe we're gaining it back through things like Instagram and sort of the social media world, but different. We've lost touch with this sort of like wise elder being in our lives. A lot of us don't have mentors. We don't have people that we can have deep and interesting conversations with. And so that was kind of the impetus for today's conversation. We're going to talk marriage. We're going to talk children, family dynamics, all of the things. And my mom came prepared. She sent me a list of a few things that, you know, we either did talk about before I got married or she thinks that are important to highlight in an early marriage. So we're actually going to start off the podcast with a little prayer. Give me your hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Or one hand. Yeah. We're going to fake hands with my producer, Joshua. God, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak today and enter this room. Give us the words that you want us to say, that you want people to hear, that will be impactful for the audience that is listening, God. You are so good, and you give us so many gifts every single day and so many things to bring to the world in a way that inspires people, makes people's lives better, and really helps create more of your way on earth. So in this Advent season, in this Christmas season, we want to say thank you for all the gifts that have been given to us, all of the gifts that are coming to us, and more so, all of the people that are listening today and listening, you know, in the future. It really does mean so much to us. So thank you. In your holy name, I pray. Amen. Okay.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. Welcome. I already want to touch my mic. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk.
Okay.
So basically,
Can
I
I say
told
one thing first,
Yeah.
though, just because I have to do this. I think you already know the things. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a wise young lady. You're very thoughtful. You always have been. And I think you really, truly already know. We already know what we need to do. It's just, are we willing to get out the microscope and really look at it?
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of that marriage illuminates, it's the best thing ever, in my opinion, and it's been incredible for me. But it also illuminates all of the places in my life where I maybe am stuck or unhealed or I have more work to do. And it's made me very aware, like being in a really intimate marriage and intimate relationship has made me look at those things and be like, wow, I thought I was perfect, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay. So we've got 6 things on this list. And the first thing you said is appreciation before everything. Always strive to look at your partner with a good eye.
And I think kindness is the key to that. I really do. Do unto others as
Yeah.
you would have them do unto you. Right there. It doesn't have to get any more wise than that. How do you want to be treated? How do you treat the person that you're going to have the most significant relationship aside from your relationship with the Lord?
Isn't that interesting? Because, I mean, I feel like in a family dynamic, and we've seen this in our family dynamic where it's like the people that are closest to you are often the people that bother you the most sometimes and expose all the things that I was just talking about. But B, they also are the closest punching bag.
But you also have more of a history with them than you have with anyone else as
Yeah.
well. You grew up in the same household.
Yeah.
And You've been through things that you will never go through with another person, ever, ever.
Yeah.
They've seen you at your most vulnerable. They've seen you at your highest and your lowest lows. They've seen it all with you. And they know how to push those buttons. They know how to
Activate. Holy Spirit.
activate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that you have to be able to look at it from an above perspective. I love that. I don't know who said it first, but I've heard it a couple times. What would your 85-year-old self say about how you behaved in this situation, that situation, along these lines?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And can you look at, maybe even do an evaluation at the end of the day? How was I? When the stuff got hot and things got, how did I behave?
Yeah. Okay, so to give the audience some background, you were married to my dad for 30, how many?
30 years and together for 7 years before we got married.
Okay, so almost 40 years you guys
Yes.
were together.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cry, but I feel like you guys had it's funny, like sitting where me and Lauren and Mary, my sisters, sit, where we saw your relationship as like so aspirational, in that you guys had this incredible banter. You guys had this incredible like vibe together.
Well, clearly there was one person that didn't think that.
Yes, which we can laugh about. But I think,
of course we can.
But I think the point is like, but you guys also had this.
Oh yeah.
And so what did you learn in that marriage about, God, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but like being hard on your partner?
Ugh. Have you ever had that person this is the sibling thing. No matter what they do, no matter how they chew, how they come in the room, whatever it is, it's just grating on you.
Right.
And that's a you thing. It's not a them thing. And I think we're all so worried about everyone else and fixing everyone else that we won't take the microscope and become the witness of our own behavior. And I think in any healthy, and I'm certainly no expert on marriage, obviously, but in any healthy relationship, what am I bringing to the table? Who am I in this relationship? When things go south, how do I behave?
Yeah. There's so much. It is so easy, and I've found myself doing this, and I have done it in many different relational situations in the past, of like you said, constantly trying to fix someone else, constantly trying to shine the light on their behavior without even taking inventory of what your bad behavior is. It's like, I said this to you last night, and it seems like a really random example, but I think it makes sense. Like when Charlie Kirk was killed, and all of these people on the internet are like, oh, why would I feel bad for Charlie Kirk's family? He was a bad person. And in that, if you don't see the irony in that, I mean, you're going to behave like a bad person because you don't like someone for being a bad person from your perspective. But I think the point is like, we're so quick to look at other people's behavior.
Absolutely.
We're so quick to point the finger.
I mean, what's the biblical perspective on it? That's speck in your eye versus the rod in my own.
Right.
Yeah. And it's easy. It's so easy to evaluate and judge the other person. That's the easy part. The challenge is, who am I?
Yeah.
What am I in this relationship? What do I become at any given moment on any given day when things don't go just my way?
How do you think that you have evolved into being able to do that? Because obviously you met Dad when you were what, 19, 20?
19. I had turned 19.
Probably fairly emotionally immature, you tell me.
Extremely.
Yeah. And so what have been sort of the methods that you use to like come to this realization of that?
I got old.
Oh. Shoot.
I mean, no, it's wisdom. I mean, I think experience, you have to go through the experience.
Yeah.
You have to go through it yourself because
Yeah.
no one else can tell you. It has to become your experience. And if you take the time to marinate in it, evaluate in it, reflect in it, then the wisdom comes out on the other side. And it's not much fun when you're going through it oftentimes, but it becomes the things that are the stepping stones that lead to a deeper foundation in your own life.
What if you feel like you married someone who doesn't want to do that work on themselves?
Oh, yeah. I
Isn't
don't
that
know.
the
I mean,
whole point though?
does like attract like?
Well, yeah, but I also think that's another, well, what are you doing?
Right.
Show them the way, and not in a way of like, well, look at me. I'm over here reading my Bible and journaling and you
being
know.
perfect
Yeah,
and right
exactly.
and
Yeah.
the critical eye on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy. And I think even in the lost connection world that I feel like we're living in today through iPhones, Instagram, computers, relationship is a thing that it's longing to be
Mm.
paid attention to. The desire for deep, close knit relationships, whether you realize it or not yet, but boy, we need them and we have to cultivate them. We have to work on them. We have to
Yeah.
show up for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. What do you feel like is the work that, and sorry, this is not one of the things that we talked about, but I'm just curious.
Look who's off track.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. I told her, I was like, stay on track, stick to the
There's a
points.
script.
But what do you feel like are the things that you wish you would have done before you met your long-term partner to work on yourself and to get to know yourself better?
Oh, I mean, this podcast isn't long enough for that, Anna. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to have a healthy relationship with yourself first. You have to be willing to look back at whatever it was that became your defense mechanism when the SHIT hit the fan
Mhm.
in your home of origin and how you reacted, how you behaved, because those patterns are deep and they're going to repeat themselves through and through over the course of your lifetime until you're willing to really, really, really start to assimilate. Uh, I don't necessarily mean diagnose, but look at and then let go of. Because we oftentimes, not oftentimes, most times, we react the same way. The behavior may be a little bit different, but we react the same way to challenges and situations.
As when we were little.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also think like Terry Real, who you and I are both big fans
I
of.
love him.
Love.
Love.
He talks a lot about how you, if you don't take responsibility for your SHIT, you will marry the parent who you had the most dysfunctional relationship with in your house growing up.
Yeah.
And
The most unfinished business, whether it's your father or your mother,
right.
that's who your life partner is going to be. And I mean, clearly, I've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, dad,
My
your
dad.
dad is my dad,
Yeah.
Jake,
Yeah. Very
through
similar.
and through. Yeah. And then Mark is like the total opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Her husband.
And I don't believe that it's because I did so much work on myself. I feel like the work's never done, though, too.
Well, it's not.
It can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the work is complete when God is done with you and calls you home.
Yeah. For real.
I really do.
When can you stop thinking about these things? When can you stop bettering yourself? Basically when you die.
But isn't the relationship that you have with God the most important relationship? And then the relationship is the relationship that you have if you're married with your husband or wife. And in most cases, this is going to be a wife because we're probably talking to mostly women here.
98%
yes.
women
Yes.
audience. Yeah, but I think that leads us to literally our next point that you sent is that there's a hierarchy of the family that should be respected and protected. And it's the husband and wife, or God, the husband and wife, and then the children.
Yes. There's a great child psychologist by the name of John Rosemond, or he's a family therapist. I mean, this guy was so spot on good. And he had this theory that as soon as, and this was back when the husband was working outside the home, the wife wasn't necessarily as much as the husband, but as soon as the head of the household walks in the house, the kids go to their own spaces, give the parents 10 minutes to just have a little sit down, have a little time together to digest their day, have a moment, whatever they need to do, and then the family unit comes back together again. And I thought, well, that seems ridiculous. Why would you send the kids away? You know, I mean, the kids want to greet the dad too. Yeah. But I think things get turned upside down. And you and I had this conversation yesterday as well. It's one thing when you're married and there are no children in the equation. And I think anybody that brings a child into the world, is blessed to bring children into the world, understands that dynamic changes when those children come into your world. And it's really important to maintain we are the head of this family together. You know, here's the king, here are the husband and the wife, and here are the children.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of this conversation spurred actually from me talking about on Instagram. Someone asked me what I was nervous about for, potentially having a child within the next couple of years. And I would say that the thing that gives me the most agita and the most anxiety is I just feel like my marriage is so good and like there's so much love and it's fun and it's like hot and cool and playful and all of the things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I'm really scared to experience the changes that come with, okay, now there's a baby in the equation that is demanding so much of my attention in a way that's different than the way that it demands my husband's attention.
Yeah.
Right? The way that I feed the baby, nurse the baby back to sleep, all of the things. And that obviously can be a team sport, but my husband is the center of my world. And it's scary to think about that dynamic shifting,
Well, I mean, number one, I'd say don't put too much energy into it because it's naturally going to evolve. But I think a level of awareness of the fact that has the potential to come into your home is good. But Anna, you're going to love your baby so much more than you ever loved Matt. I mean, it's just such a different kind of love. I mean, it's the most pure, beautiful, heartfelt
It's just
love.
different though, right?
It's so different.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you and Matt, I'm sorry, but I think you guys have something that's pretty special in today's world too.
Yeah.
You've got that hot, playful. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to behold. It really, truly is. And a child will make you see him in a different light as well. And you will love him. You won't have as much time for him. I'm sorry. Right? I know. That's not comforting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're aware of it.
But then you make your time much more significant where it's like, and that's what I've heard from a lot of my friends who've gone through this recently of like, there is when we get in bed at night, we're both sitting on our phones idly next to each other and if that's what we're doing and that's what we're prioritizing, we got a problem.
You're going to get.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you're both going to roll over back to back
Yeah.
and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Not much fun.
Right.
Doesn't make for much of a connection, does it?
Yeah.
No, you can feel it right here, just us talking about it.
Gives me, yeah.
Yeah.
Heart palpitations. No, I'm just joking.
That's all the coffee.
Yeah. How do you wish that you would have done that differently in your marriage?
I mean, clearly I wish that I would have done it differently. That you have no idea how exhausted when people say, "Oh, I'm so tired." You don't have any kids yet. You don't know what tired is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't understand the word tired. But I mean, I wish I would have been more attentive to Jim.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed because I have another opportunity to do it
with
my new husband, Mark. I really do. And I need to be more attentive to that as well. And I hope that this conversation is a wake-up call for anybody who listens to it. Yes, in their relationship. You have one chance to do it. Okay, what are the chances? Over 50% that you're going to get a divorce. I don't know. I don't want to be the
But I think
Debbie Doomer here.
even if you're in one marriage forever, God willing,
Hopefully.
you have like 10 different marriages within that marriage.
Of course you do, because you
know?
have different stages of your life.
Right.
Yes. So if you put kindness at the top of your list, and integrity, and honoring your partner in a beautiful way. And you know what? I think we have to really guard our thoughts too, because those thoughts can feed some really nasty behavior. And when you start to get to the point where everything thought that you have about your partner is
Yeah.
you better make a connection with them,
Yeah.
because something may come out sideways. And as we talked about last night, you can't take your words back.
Right.
You drop those words and you cannot take them back.
Especially with a man, I think one of the things that I've noticed so much is men really take what we say to heart. I grew up with two sisters where we could literally be like, you're a fat loser with no friends. And then 15 minutes later,
Let's go play Barbie.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to go play? And like I'm not joking though, where it's like that's why I think this like comments really don't bother me, because I'm like, you don't get it. I grew up middle of two sisters. Like nothing you say can hurt me that much. But that's good, Mom. That gives you thick skin. Men don't have that the way that we do, where it's like, if I say something that is cutthroat, he's going to feel that. And he's going to feel it in a way that is different than the way that I would feel it.
And isn't it beautiful to have a manly man, but also a man with a sensitive heart?
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's not forget that
Yeah.
they do have heart, and they want to be heard, and they want to be paid attention to, and they want to be listened to, and they want to be honored
Yeah.
and respected. And they deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, we will treat people within our four walls worse than the new best friend that we just met at Pilates last week.
Yeah.
They'll never see that side of us. The grocery store person, nicer to the grocery store person than we are to the person in our own home. What's that?
Right. I mean, I agree, but I also think, like we were saying at the beginning, the punching bag close to you when you're activated is the one that's going to get hit.
So you better watch your behavior.
Exactly. And watch your thoughts, right? Because like you just said, those thoughts become words, and those words become action. And then all of a sudden you're living in a house that is built by the actions that stemmed from really dysfunctional thoughts about your partner that you probably had when you were PMSing. Let's be honest.
Or they were chewing.
Yeah, exactly.
Too loudly.
Exactly. Okay, the next one. This is very
So men,
similar.
stop chewing, please.
Yeah, please just swallow your food.
And
Chewing is for the girls.
And will you do me a favor and quit scraping your fork on your teeth too?
Okay, you're getting a little too pointed. Okay, third one is it's very healthy to press pause. And the example you gave is no one should be talking about finances at 9:30 p.m. on a school night.
Because one person rolls over and goes to sleep, and the other person is up all night freaking out.
Right.
Going, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay the mortgage?
Yes. But pressing pause, see, to me, that is really uncomfortable to me in the middle of a fight, because I am like Dad, where, again, like I just said, I could be screaming at someone or they're screaming at me, and then I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm a very quick forgiver, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, it like activates me feeling alone when there's like, hey, we got to take a beat and we'll come back to this. And so that's something that I've had to grow a lot into. But do you think that that's a good thing, is to take a pause?
I think it's a beautiful thing. And I also think it's good to understand that conflict doesn't have to mean dissolution.
Right.
It doesn't mean the whole thing's blown up.
Right.
It's how can I practice conflict and staying in an uncomfortable conversation with my partner without having to check out or leave. And I think pause is an opportunity when things get too hot, too fast, too heated, and you're like,
Yeah.
I got it. I have to take a beat right now. But it's I will be back here in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you need to finish this conversation so we can finish it and move forward. But I think too often things blow up. Everybody goes their own separate way, hot. And then the ice starts to melt and you slowly start to get back together again. That's not conflict resolution.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
It's just blowing up and then tiptoeing back in and being on your best behavior until the whole thing erupts again.
Right.
Right?
Conflict should really bring you closer together.
It has an
As it
opportunity to.
repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so uncomfortable for us.
And I think a lot of couples have the same fights over and over and over again.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
And you learn how to have conflict by your house of origin. And if your parents exploded and then iced each other out, there's nothing more potent and powerful than the silent treatment. How ridiculous is that?
The most emotionally immature thing you can do is give someone the silent treatment.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was really good at it.
Yeah,
I
you
am
were.
right. I am a sister. I have 5 brothers.
Yeah.
Right? In a massively dysfunctional household that I grew up in. And oh boy, could I pout and could I stay quiet for days on end.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, watch her. She's really hurting me, isn't she?
Right.
But then, of course, you bring that into your marriage and that certainly isn't healthy.
Well, no, and it creates a significant amount of space. But again, I just think truly the silent treatment is it's emotionally immature.
It
It's
is.
emotional
It's
wounding.
gross.
Yeah, it's gross. And it's not you do not win with that behavior ever.
And you don't grow
Yeah.
with that behavior. And don't we always want to be expanding in our relationship?
Yeah.
I do.
I would say so.
Show me how to grow.
Yeah.
Right? Let's grow together.
Together. Absolutely.
Look at us finishing each other's sentences.
Like mother, like daughter. Okay. The fourth one is, and this kind of weaves in, is the importance of taking radical accountability for your behavior cannot be overstated.
I think we've been talking about that
Yeah.
all along, is that, it's easy to look at somebody else. It's challenging to look at yourself, but start there.
But
You
how
know,
do you
begin
do
here.
that?
You go,
how do you
okay,
do that?
What am I bringing right now?
Yeah.
Why are my defenses up? Where's my heart?
Yeah.
Where's my heart in this? Can I get back to my heart so that I can come from here and not here?
Yeah. I've told this
It's
story
a
on.
whole different ballgame. And you know it.
Yeah.
We all know it if we know our heart.
Yeah. I've told this story on the podcast before, and it is like, when I think about it, it makes me want to cry, but I'll never forget early dating my now husband. We had like one of our first fights, and I, as my mom just said, grew up in a house where fighting was dysfunctional, unhealthy. I had that in every relationship up until
Mean.
I met, my husband, cutthroat. And we were arguing, and I was getting heated, and he's, steady state always. And he said to me in the calmest voice, he said, "Why don't you talk to me like I'm someone you love?" And it literally,
Full stop.
oh my gosh, talk about a mic drop moment where I was like, you know what? You're 100% right.
But do you know how many people would say, listen here,
Yeah.
how dare you, right?
Yeah.
They go right there. And when you go right there, that's when you say, whoa, all he's asking is to be heard and respected.
Yeah.
He's not asking for anything other than to be treated with kindness here.
And to argue in a way that is still rooted in, hey, you know what? It's not me versus you. It's us versus whatever the problem is. It's not me versus you. It's us versus our children. No, I'm joking. But,
Yes.
like,
Get ready for battle.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying, where it's like we get into this like mode of me versus you, and nobody wins.
But we're a team.
Right.
Why do you want to turn on your teammate?
Yeah.
Your biggest cheerleader, the person that just wants you to adore them the way they adore you.
Yeah. And especially I think with husbands, and this is really easy to fall into at home, is that talking down, that, not talking to you, to him like he's someone you love. And then all of a sudden you also simultaneously expect to be married to some like boss man who's killing it in the world and spiritual leader and he's super influential and he's super smart and super charismatic. And okay, but you set the tone for the behavior that this guy is willing to accept out in the world. And if that's how he is being treated at home, why would he act any differently in the world? I mean, it makes sense, right? I think it's easy to say that, but it's hard to put into practice, but it's true.
And I think therein comes the appreciation component of this as well. Appreciation, connection, respect.
Yeah.
And how would you want to be treated? Do unto others.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, number 5, you have to keep your sense of humor and not take everything so seriously.
Well, and I think women in particular, men if they're a little more prissy, but women not anyway, women in particular, because they feel like they're the ones that keep the schedule, they're the ones that have the more home demands, and children demands, and mom. I think that we can lose our sense of humor very quickly.
Yeah. You didn't.
And that's because every time I got mad at Dad, he'd make me laugh. And regardless of, even if I had a really good reason for being really, really mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just the deflection.
Yeah. Well,
which I think that's unhealthy too.
It
That's a whole nother podcast of, being in a relationship with somebody that never owns anything.
Yeah.
To this day. I mean.
Okay. No.
Cut that, please.
No, but I do think the point of like, you got to be able to laugh at yourself, at him, at each other.
What do you want your kids to remember when they're looking back on their childhood?
Yeah.
What a cold, icy witch their mom was?
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to be remembered.
No.
You want to be the fun mom. And that doesn't mean you don't get things done, but don't take it so seriously.
Right.
You got to be playful too.
You were so good at that though. You played with us constantly. Jump on the tramp.
Water skiing.
Yeah.
Come on. In the pool at the Elks Club. Let's race.
Exactly. Yeah. Handstands. Yeah. I think it's really important. And I think we will all go through very significant things with our partner.
Massive challenges.
When you choose to marry someone, you are choosing who you're going to see the death of your parents with, who you're going to, bring children into the world with, who is going to carry you through postpartum and childbirth and all of the financial things that you go through and all of the life. It is such a serious decision to marry someone and such a bet and such a risk that you're taking to say, I pick you to be the primary witness of my life.
Yeah. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So think wisely.
Right.
And think about what you really want. And if I were going to go back and tell my 15, 16, 17 and 18-year-old self something, I would say, what kind of life do I want to live?
Yeah.
And how do I want to live it? And what do I need in order to be supported along that path? And how can I always continue to grow with another person?
Yeah.
And not just get in my own lane and keep going. Oh, and then we're just coexisting under the same roof doing chores.
Yeah. I think literally roommates.
Right.
I think a lot of women especially feel like they are on such a growth path and like their partner isn't keeping up with them. Like I hear this all the time. Oh, like I'm diving deeper into my relationship with God. I'm getting healthier. And my husband he wants to stay in the same place.
Have a conversation.
Correct.
But have a conversation. And I'll go back to the kindness word. With kindness, with respect, with let's do this together. Instead of, oh, well, now that I'm doing all that.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone asked me the other day about how I feel about zinning when you're trying to get pregnant.
And did you say, I love zinning every day?
Well, the husband zinning.
I love my zinning.
I love the zins, but zins. And I was just like, listen, I mean, my husband is a Zen addict.
He's a zinner.
He's a Zenard Skinnerd. But I think it's like, would you feel comfortable with someone putting a microscope on every single one of your behaviors when you're in this era of trying to prepare your body for conception and have a baby and say, oh, well, I saw that you had a coffee this morning and I just don't think that's in the best interest of us long term. Speaking of I just think the point is like again, which I feel like we're kind of beating the dead horse at this point. It's about your behavior. It's not about their behavior. And if you can get on the same page from a team perspective and say, I want to do this together. I want to get healthy together because I want to be there to play with our grandchildren. And I want to do that with you. And I want to explore all these new things with you. Who's going to say no to that? No comment.
Well, I think, if someone says no to that, yeah. And actions always speak louder than words as well.
Yeah,
They do.
I agree.
So should we talk about the last topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
SEX.
Yeah.
John Rosemond, I'm not kidding you. I will never forget this. I had an article on the refrigerator at our house on Marietta Street in 1987, and it said, our ex put sex on the front burner. And my mother-in-law walked in the house and she goes, well, I see you've got a great article sitting there on your refrigerator, don't you, honey?
Stop.
Yes, she did. Keep it going.
Good for her.
Yes. Well, mother of 8 children.
Yes, she knew what to do.
But intimacy, sexual intimacy in a relationship is so important. And it's so important for both partners. Maybe for different reasons, but ultimately the same reason, right? For a deep, deep soul connection.
What about for, the time in your life, you had 3 kids under the age of 5 years old, one breastfeeding, one having a meltdown because she didn't like the younger one, the older one doing the same, There's so many people who say, I'm touched out. I'm exhausted when my husband comes home and he hasn't seen all the things that have gone on in the house all day and all of the fires that I've put out and all of the stuff that I've dealt with. And then he just walks up and wants to get it on.
Right.
And what do you do then?
Get it on.
Yeah.
Do the thing you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And as we just said, life is going to go through many, many stages.
Yeah.
And this is a stage. And if when you get to be, 60 some years old and you're still having great sexual relations with your partner, how blessed are you?
Yeah.
And into 70s and, into 80s and things may start to look different. But wow, wouldn't that be a great legacy? And wouldn't that be a great way to be living your life?
And I think it's such a good,
healthy,
but it also keeps you accountable. Might be a hot take, but this is genuinely how I feel. It keeps you accountable to maintaining the way that you look from a health perspective. Sorry, I think that when you feel good about your body and the way that it looks, you're much more excited to get naked at the end of the day. It's just the truth.
You might like the lights a little bit dimmer.
Yeah, depending on where you're at. But
that's okay too.
Yeah, but I think that anything that keeps you accountable to your health long term is a good thing.
And you said this earlier too about, working together to get healthy. What if you just lived a healthy lifestyle?
Yeah.
What if that was just the lifestyle that you lived so that you didn't have to go, oh, we need to get healthy or we need to eat this way? What if your lifestyle is, you're focused in, you're dialed in, you know what you want it to be, and that's just how you live your life?
Yeah.
May we all not get so far off track that we have to reel it back in and get healthy or go on a diet. What if our nutrition is the lifestyle that we live on a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely. And
together.
Healthier. I believe that foundation, though, it trickles into every single part of your marriage. When you're
100%.
eating healthy food, you're not as reactive. When you're eating healthy food, you like the way you look. You want to
When
have
you're
sex.
eating,
Yeah.
you're not.
Right. When you're working out, you take the pressure gauge off your stress just a little bit more. These are
Your
things.
mood, your
Yes.
endorphins. Come on.
Your sleep.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all stems back to that. And I think truly healthy people have healthy relationships.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So here's to healthy people and here's to healthy relationships. And
Amen.
yeah, you're amazing. You really are.
Mom,
For Anna.
You are. I love you so
I love
much.
too,
Thank
honey.
you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this week's episode of Back to Basics. We will see you next week for another episode, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.